Come back to those nights, my horror night.
Welcome to the last. All right, this isn't working. I did not think this through. Welcome to the last video store. I'm your host, Bud Haddonfield, and this is the YouTube show. We recommend the good, the bad, and ugly of horror movies. Last week, I went to see Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Absolutely loved it. I felt that it was pretty much an Evil Dead movie until I saw that Lee Cronin also directed the last Evil Dead movie, so that worked out perfectly. So, with that, I was inspired to talk about some more mummy movies. It's definitely an underrated subgenre that doesn't always get the recognition it deserves. So I would like to recommend as many mummy movies as possible. We're going to start off from the Universal Classics. Yes, it's not every movie out there, but it's all the ones we have in the last video store. So like I said, we're going to start out with the Universal Classic monster movies, The Mummy, and I'm going to do a little breakdown, being that I bought them all on VHS. I can show off the individual ones. So we have the very original with Boris Karloff. We have the original sequel, The Mummy's Hand. We have The Mummy's Tomb. We have The Mummy's Ghost. We have The Mummy's Curse, which I think this one takes place in Louisiana. I could be wrong. I know one of them has. We just slip that back in there. And then we have Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. So years later in the 90s, like I said, I was a big Universal Monster Movies fan as a kid, and I was super excited when they were talking about doing a remake of it with Brendan Fraser. So we have the very original one, we have The Mummy's Return, and then we have the weird little pseudo sequel, Mummy and the Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. This one wasn't bad. I like this one. It wasn't too bad. It didn't feel like it because the actress who played the wife in part 1 and part 2 didn't come back, but we got Jonathan, we got Brendan. It felt weird that she was recast. And yes, she obviously couldn't have made it. I think she was filming something else at the time, but y'all should have waited for her. And then we have the Tom Cruise, The Mummy, which a lot of people talk shit about this one. It wasn't too bad. I kind of enjoyed it. So in the 1960s, I believe, they did the remakes. The Hammer Horrors did their version of it. I'm just grabbing them right here. But we have Christopher Lee, The Mummy. We have Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. We have The Mummy's Shroud. And we have Blood from the Mummy's Tomb. And I liked all these. I thought they were all a lot of fun. So we're also going to talk about movies that just features mummies in them. Not necessarily all of them are centered around it. But we have Curse of King Tut's Tomb. There's a lot of T's in that shit, so you can't blame me for having a lisp when it comes to all the T's. And then we got The Fallen Ones. Both of these featured Casper Van Dien, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, and Robert Allen Mukes from House of a Thousand Corpses in this one. I'll go back to the early 1980s with Charlton Heston, and we have The Awakening. We have what just hit on Blu-ray, and I was super excited, is The Tomb. This one's a whole lot of fun. One that never really gets put in the mummies subgenre when people like making lists, but we have Bubba Ho-Tep with Bruce Campbell, and it was directed by the Phantasm director himself, Don Coscarelli. We have Ed Wood's Orgy of the Dead, and this one kind of just features a mummy. It's not necessarily centered around it. So this one comes in a 4-pack. I kind of missed the opportunity of getting it on a standalone Blu-ray, but hopefully I'll get my hands on it one day. And it is Time Walker. This one isn't too bad. We have Legion of the Dead with Zach Galligan from Gremlins. And we have some lower budget ones. We have Rise of the Mummy, Rage of the Mummy, Day of the Mummy, and The Mummy Resurrected, and The Mummy Rebirth. So, going back in time even further, we have the Aztec mummy collections, and those really ain't too bad. It all starts off with, I'm trying to pronounce this, La Mumia Azteca. I probably got that one wrong. But we also have the sequels of the Aztec Mummy collection. Curse of the Aztec Mummy, Robot versus the Aztec Mummy, wrestling woman versus the Aztec mummy. So it's some fun tongue-in-cheek times. Speaking of Zach Galligan, we have Waxwork, very underrated movie. I'm probably going to do a standalone about this one, but this one features a killer mummy in it. We have the very underrated Frankenstein versus the Mummy. Full Moon feature Petrified, which wasn't bad. This one, I believe, came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I remember picking that one up at the video store when I saw it, and I liked it. We have 7 mummies, because, 1 or 6 isn't enough. We have Dawn of the Mummy, which we need an American Blu-ray of that one. Mummy Theme Park. This one kind of gets shit on, but it's not too bad. Speaking of shit on, we get The Mummy Lives with Tony Curtis, Jamie Lee Curtis's daddy. Tale of the Mummy, which I really enjoyed this one. This one was a whole lot of fun. And we have, let's see, Louis Gossett Jr. in Bram Stoker's The Mummy. And pretty much another pseudo-sequel, Aztec, Ancient Evil, Scream of the Mummy. And that sequel, Ancient Evil 2, Guardians of the Underworld. All right, so one more stack left. So there's a found footage one, The Pyramid. I think this one's very underrated. The Pyramid was a whole lot of fun. We get Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, which one of the stories featured a killer mummy with Christian Slater and Steve Buscemi. That's a great combination. We have The Mummy and The Curse of the Jackals. This one wasn't too bad. It's fun times. We got Devil's Story. This one's kind of shit, but I'm a sucker for bad movies, and there is a mummy in this one, so why not? And we have Cabin in the Woods. Another one features a mummy. This is a pretty fun movie too that took me a couple watchings to actually like. Speaking of pieces of shit that I love, Monster Brawl, The Fight of the Living Dead, and it's pretty much a wrestling show. Kind of like Celebrity Deathmatch, where we have monster versus monster, and of course, yes, we get a killer mummy. So Assignment Terror, which I've talked about this one. This is the Paul Naschy movie. It has a werewolf, it has Frankenstein, it has Dracula, and it has a mummy. That's why it's on this list. And then for the last one, going back to Full Moon Features, we have The Creeps. And this is a fun one. So these people were trying to resurrect all the classic monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and the Mummy, and they fuck up on the ceremony, and they come out as little people. I don't know if midget's a derogatory term in 2026, so I'm just going to say little people, unless little people's a derogatory term in 2026. So it's not on purpose. I apologize. So that is a whole lot of Mummy movies. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the Mummy subgenre. Again, they are very underrated. Not all of them are the greatest, but I think you can have fun with just about all these movies. Definitely the Hammer Horrors and the Universals, and the Brendan Fraser movies. That dude's pretty much a national treasure to this world. So I'm going to stop wasting your time. Next week, I believe, is going to be the beginning of May. I want to do another episode doing some showcases like I was telling you about with some of my friends who recently sent me some movies. So I would like to go through some of theirs. I might attach it to the May of the Dead episode, but I want to go over the whole Return of the Living Dead franchise. So I'm super excited about that when I'm talking about all those movies and going in depth, because I've been watching, well, especially the first two, since the early 90s. So I'm going to stop talking shit. Hope you all having a great weekend. It's summertime's almost here. It's right around the corner. The pollen's out, the bees are out. Make sure y'all take y'all Allegro, and y'all have a good, safe time. So I hope y'all all stay healthy. I hope y'all all staying, sick-free, because there's always a lot of shit that goes on in pollen season. I'm just going to stop rambling because it's what I do best. But thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm your host, Bud Hattenfield. This is The Last Video Store. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on next week's episode. All right, now how could I forget the Monster Squad and Monster Mash?
Michael Myers are the heroes of my past. Now the media is dying. Chucky and the zombies are all up in cemetery. So bring me back those. I wanna come back to those times when all movies were so scary. I'll blow a